everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Let's Talk About the podcast. We are talking about not settling today. Talking about how you do not have to settle. You will no longer accept something that is less than what you deserve or what you want. That goes for jobs, cars, houses, really anything. But today I'm especially talking about how you do not have to settle in a relationship or for a relationship. So let's talk about it. So my first piece of advice is to not settle for something just because it's familiar. And also, do not settle for potential. Just because it's familiar and you notice or you see potential in something or in someone, that does not make it okay to settle for. Just because you've been with them for so long, if they're no longer serving you a purpose, I'm going to say it that way though, because sometimes people are trying. If you notice stuff they're trying and they're doing their best and you notice progression and both of y'all working together, cool, that's cool. I'm talking to the people that are settling just because they're comfortable, just because it's familiar, just because they was with them for 8 years, just because they have been with them since high school, whatever. If you see no progression, do not settle for that. Do not settle for potential. Potential being what you see them as instead of what they actually are. So you may see them as, you see the potential of them as a father, as a husband, but what are the characteristics that are they showing you right now? What are those things? And do you see them change it? And one thing that you should not do is say that these are the things that I need from you and expect that to change them. Just because you sit there and y'all have like this talk or this argument or whatever it is, saying that I need somebody that does this, does that, does this, and does that. They're going to say, I can do this and that and this and that. And they'll do that for a little bit, but then go right back to their ways. If you see that pattern, don't settle for that. That's not okay, because that's not the person that you actually want to continue to spend the rest of your life with. And the reason why I say that is because you're always going to have the same cycle and it's never going to end. And when I say it's never going to end, unless they want to work on it, unless you see that. But if they're not, and you don't see any progression or anything, any changes in them at all, then that's not it. I don't know where I was going with, but that's not it. You don't want to settle for that, because again, you're going to continue to be in the same cycle. You have to break the cycle, period. Or you're going to, because even if you decide to stay in that relationship and you decide to marry that person, have kids with that person, you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's going to be harder and harder and harder to get out of that hole that you're digging yourself in. And I'm not saying they're not a good person. I'm not saying that they're not a good person, but if you have these ideas and these non-negotiables and they are not exceeding your expectations or even meeting your expectations, then you're settling. Another piece of advice for you guys is to stop making excuses for them. Stop overdoing your part. Stop begging for the bare minimum, and stop being okay with the things that you are not okay with. I'm going to repeat that. Stop making excuses for others. Stop overdoing your part. Stop begging for the bare minimum, and stop being okay with things that you're not okay with. Making excuses for them, especially when your parents or people are saying out of love. They're saying it out of love because they know that you deserve better. Out of love, they are saying that this person isn't doing such and such. It's not because they don't want to see you happy. That's what they want to do, is see you happy, but they see that this person that you're with is holding you and hindering you from your potential, because you're so worried about their potential. You need to stop making excuses for them, because, if they don't have a car, but yet they have a good paying job, but they continue to buy unnecessary things. They got plenty of clothes and plenty of shoes, but yet they're not saving up for a car. All that extra money going to stuff that they don't need. That's an excuse. You making an excuse saying like, oh, it's okay, he's trying, he just got a job, da da da. Excuses. If it's a man, he's a man. Let that man be a grown man. And if he's not making grown men choices, stop making excuses for it. Stop overplaying your part. Stop overdoing your part. If you're not that man's wife, stop acting like his wife. If you are overplaying your part, like, it's different with helping them out. If you're helping them out, okay, cool. But if you are overplaying it, like they're not doing nearly as much as you're doing, you're overdoing your part. Stop pursuing them. That's not your role. You're the woman. You're supposed to be the wife. Not doing wifely duties if you are not his wife. But as the man in the relationship, he should honestly be doing more than what you're doing. Stop begging for the bare minimum. If you asking that man just to text you throughout the day, just if he's busy and you're just asking for communication and he is not doing that, and you've asked him time and time again, you're begging him just to communicate. If you have just said that you needed, like say for example, love languages, if your love language is words of affirmation and all you're asking him to do, like not even asking him to do, when you have that conversation saying what your love language is and this is what uplifts you and makes you feel wanted and loved, and he can't even just tell you that you're beautiful or you're doing a great job at work or whatever it is, or he's proud of you, and you've brought that to his attention and he's still not doing it, that's begging him for the bare minimum. Something as simple as him just reassuring you, or anything that you have brought to his attention and he's not doing, he doesn't want to do it, period. There's men out there that will, and for you to beg somebody that doesn't even want to do it, you're settling. And stop being okay with the things that you're not okay with. Certain things that I wasn't okay with, I was settling for. For example, I'm gonna just keep it real. We're gonna talk about it. I'm not into smoking, like weed and stuff. I'm not into all of that. But dude was. It was times where I've brought it up, and it was just a continuous cycle. I bring it up, and it didn't matter. So I was settling for that. I was settling for somebody that was into that when I wasn't into that. But the thing is, I don't have to settle for that. If y'all aren't okay with it, stop being okay with it, period. All right, y'all, next topic. So, like I said before, how they may be a good person. This one I said a while ago in my first episode, really, where I said they may be a good person, but they're not a good person for you. I think that's how I said it, but I'm going to say it. They may be a good person, but they're not your person. I don't want to sit here and belittle all the good things that they do. Yes, they may be a great friend to you. Yes, they may pick you up, pay for your meal and all that stuff. Yes, they do good things for you. Yes, they love you. I get it, but they may check off every single box, but your main one. My main one is them having a relationship with God. Them having their own relationship with God before they even get to me. That's something that I've been in a situation where I was more God-led than them, and I don't want that to happen again. I'm not settling for somebody that just goes to church on Christmas or Easter. No, I need somebody that serves in ministry, so I'm not settling for anybody that just believes in God. If I want to get biblical, the devil believes in God too. The devil knows the word, but I'm not gonna get into all of that. I know what main box needs to be checked for me before anything else, and if that box is not checked, then I can't settle for that. That's just me, personally. But there's somebody out there that will. There's somebody out there that will push you closer to God's will and purpose for your life and not pull you away from it. All right, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate for a second. So I'm going to switch it on us a little bit, ladies. You don't want them settling for you. You don't want to settle for them, for a man. So don't have that man settling for you. In this time where you are You need to find yourself, love yourself, know your worth, all those kind of things. And also, if you want to be the wife and mom to cook dinners and all that stuff, do that now. Practice now. And I'm really talking to myself too, though, when it comes to that, because I'm single. If you're not single, you listening to this, and you in a relationship where you feel like you're overdoing your part and things like that, that you need to pray on that. But as far as my women that are single listening to this, if you are looking for a kingdom man, you need to make yourself a kingdom woman, a woman of God, the one that, and understand what your role is as a wife. And in the word, how it says that we have to respect our husbands, we have to submit to our husbands and things like that. It says here in Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and he gave himself up for her. I'm going to need my husband to know what that means and understands that I ain't getting into this here because I'm speaking to the women. You have to present yourself as a wife. He who finds a wife findeth a good thing. You need to become that good thing. I'm not saying you're not a good thing or whatever. I'm not saying that you're not a wife already, but you have to make sure that essentially that they're not settling for you. In this time that you have, build your relationship with God. Ask him what you need to work on and able to present yourself as the wife he calls you to be. Know that when you choose not to settle, it may seem like you're waiting on God for forever, but when you remember who you serve and what he has promised you, you're not going to want to settle for anything or anyone that has not been sent by him. He is not a man that he should lie. He desires for us to live a prosperous life. We just have to do our part by being obedient and trusting him and doing what he says even when we don't understand or even when we don't feel like it. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge him and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. That's one of my favorite verses because when it says to don't lean on your own understanding, it's really you're doing what God is just telling you to do. You're being obedient. And when you are obedient to God, he is faithful to do what he says he's going to do. So if you acknowledge your ways, all of your ways in your relationship, because a lot of us want God to be in our finances and our cars and our houses, but we don't want him in our relationship. And I can say from experience, I would pray for the person I was with, but I wouldn't pray for the relationship because I already knew the relationship was not pleasing to God. So if I asked anything of God about that relationship, it won't gonna happen because it was not under his will. But when you acknowledge all of your ways to God, he will direct your paths. He will make your path straight. He will guide you on the right path. You have to just be obedient. And again, that's part of not settling by being obedient to God, because when you, like I said, when you are obedient and you are acknowledging all your ways, he will direct your path. He will give you the things and the desires of your heart when you delight yourself in him. So if you have the desire to get married, he will pursue that. He will give you that. But if you decide to settle, he gives us the choice to do what we want to do. So if you decide to settle for something that is less than what he's giving you, that's your choice and you can do that. But for me personally, I'm not settling for anything less than what God has for me. I'm not settling less for who God has for me, period. And I don't want y'all to settle either. One day someone will walk into your life and get it right where everyone else got it wrong. One day you won't have to wait for a call or a text back. One day you won't be the only one giving it your all. One day you'll finally meet someone who wants to help you grow in life. One day you'll finally meet someone who isn't afraid to give love another chance. One day you'll finally meet someone you can trust with everything. One day you'll have your best friend, your biggest supporter, and your teammate all wrapped in one person. What you want exists. Don't settle until you get it.